It's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's Superhero Slate. It's a weekly podcast where we talk about everything that's great. Like movies, TV, superheroes. It's Superhero Slate. Oh, yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris.
And my name is, I already opened up my drink, Mike.
Yep, and I thought you were gonna say we love TV, movies, and Super Bowl, but you didn't. But this week we play the music and we light the lights for the Muppet Show today on this week's episode.
Last week.
Last week. Disney finds its next CEO. The Search no longer continues. Supergirl reuses some bits of the DCEU, Snyder era, and more.
Yep, and this is the unfortunate part at the top of the podcast where we have to remind you that as topical as we like to be here on the show, we are recording this just mere hours before kickoff of Super Bowl, whatever number it is, with whatever teams that are playing right now. Well, back in the day, we used to do 2 recordings on Super Bowl Sunday to try to capture all of the SEO synergy of the Super Bowl commercials. But we've been doing it less and less so, and we got a whole bullet point coming up here in the show, talk about it. But I feel like there's maybe less for us to pull from the commercials this year, so you're just going to have to pretend that we are in a pregame perennially. How do you say that? Like with flowers, like a plant that always exists.
Yeah.
Long and short of it is, we haven't watched the game, and you have probably.
Yes. If you're listening to this beforehand, you're listening to us live, or you're a glutton for punishment, and you don't want to watch the commercials or eat your snacks. I got snacks upstairs. I'm ready. I'm cooking meatballs and barbecue sauce and peach preserves. I got some other, like the Cheez-Its we're going to make up. My wife, she does pigs in a blanket. Staple around here. Gotta get that. People are bringing other stuff. So excited for that. Our backups in the freezer, Mike, are Costco, Costco cheese sticks, but also Totino's pizza rolls. If we run out of stuff, those are easy late night snacks to cook up.
Can't go wrong with that. Yeah, I was getting some snack FOMO when Chris was describing some of the stuff to me. So as soon as this recording's done, I'm hopping in the car, headed to the grocery store, and consuming more calories because I got the standard Velveeta Rotel combo ready to go. But I was like, I feel like I'm missing out a little bit. I need a little bit more, so I think I'm going to go scrounge up a little bit more.
My recommendation for me is a shrimp cocktail, a nice shrimp cocktail with not the included cocktail sauce, but if you can get like a high-end cocktail sauce, St. Elmo's for me. I love the zing of the horseradish in it. Absolutely will hold you over. I did look it up. This is Superhero Slate Episode DLX, by the way, which is 660. Which means Super Bowl LX, which is one is 60. So we are actually a little bit of synergy there, ironically. But in just 6 more weeks, we'll have the show, the episode of The Devil, for you guys to really bite down on. Let's jump into it. I want to talk about this because this is timely and relevant to me, Mike. Not only, just literally 2 weeks ago, I purchased the game Baldur's Gate 3, the award-winning video game from 2023. And I've been playing a multiplayer campaign with my friends. It's fun because you can roleplay kind of in the game. Like, you're like, if I want to be good, evil, attack, fight, whatever. So, like, I'm going pure chaos. I am sowing as much chaos as I can across this countryside in this game I'm playing. Where I'm actually, my character's name is Trunks, and if you were to kind of gauge where I base this character from, Mike, where would you think I pulled him from?
Well, I would have to say from some sort of Z-adjacent show, maybe of the Dragon Ball era.
Yes. So I mean, Dragon Balls across Baldur's Gate is what I'm saying to people. It's bad. It's a bad joke, but I'll take it. But anyway, the video game, it's based on Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. So as you play the storyline, all the stuff, it rolls dice for you. You have to roll checks. You could pass. You could reload a save and fail the next instance. It's completely based on the dice you roll in the game. It's really fun. The HBO is picking up this game and turning it into a series with Craig Mazin, who is one of the creators showrunners. I think the first season of The Last of Us will be created written for him. But the difference here is they're not adapting Baldur's Gate 3. The series will pick up immediately where the game ends and go from there. And the world, I guess I haven't got that far yet. I'm still very early on. But like I don't know how it'll end. But I'm interested to see where it is. But now that I know that a series is coming out of this HBO.
Yeah, it'd be pretty interesting because I got to imagine with the success of Baldur's Gate 3, they're working on a sequel in some sense. Because I don't know exactly what happens between 2 and 3 or 1 and 2, if there's any sort of story that continues.
I'll tell you, they're not connected. 1 and 2 came out in like the early 2000s, like PS1, PS2 era, like very, very early on. This was a latecomer, but you're right. You don't become an award-winning game without someone picking up a sequel.
Yeah, exactly. So since the development life cycle of a game is so long, and I got to imagine a game like Baldur's Gate 3 where it's like intense role playing with lots of decisions to be made probably takes a while, and compared to producing a TV show, it actually seems like a blink of an eye. So they could do something pretty cool here where with the announcement and the development of a Baldur's Gate series, by the time maybe the series wraps, or I mean the first season wraps, or maybe even the second season wraps, they could have another game like ready to go, picking up where the TV show left off. Like usually, I feel like it's the other way around, right? It's it's like a game picking up from a TV show, or the other way around. But like, if you time it just right, you could kind of insert something in the middle. And there's actually a lot of really good storytelling devices where a continuation picks up, and then it's like there's been like a time jump, because it's always fun to kind of see like what's been missing in that gap. Well, they can fill it in with the TV show if they already know that they're going to do that.
Yeah,
this helps me though, Chris, because I just finished I finished Astrobot. I beat that the other day, and then I beat Ghosts of Yotei, and then I thought there was rumors that there was going to be a Fallout 3 remaster that was going to launch after the season finale, but there was no remaster. So now I'm kind of like left. I don't have a game to play right now, so maybe Baldur's Gate 3 is where I go.
If you do, let me know. It's against 4-player multiplayer. I'd love to play this with you. Like, this is a game I'd love to stream because of the antics we could literally get up to in this game along the way. But it's funny, you do mention Fallout, and a lot of people are like, oh, adaptation sequels, those are awful. But like, Fallout has proven to run parallel to the games 3 and 4 in New Vegas and still be successful, right? With its 2 seasons and possibly more. So I think this is an HBO like, oh, we want to do what Fallout's doing. The Last of Us, great, obviously a great choice for the first one. Didn't finish season 2. I know season 3 is coming. Might watch it all in one go since it's like one base game. So this is interesting for me. Also, I think we've talked about it, Mike. Dungeons and Dragons, the movie that came out several years ago, fantastic movie. I am so sad that they can get a sequel over at Warner Brothers. And maybe they could use this as another springboard into Dungeons and Dragons, since it's all set in the same kind of thing. So I absolutely believe that would be super successful for this. So if you play, let me know, Mike. If anyone else wants to play, set up a session. We do an hour a week or something. Let me know. Love it. It's been so fun, and just again, chaos all around for me. Speaking of chaos, here this afternoon, in just less than 2 hours, people will be here for the Super Bowl 2026, and I am here to let people know who are listening live, but people who are listening tomorrow will know better. There are no DC trailers, there are no Marvel trailers, there are no Sony trailers during the show. We got this rumor last week after we stopped recording. Tried to find some sources, tried to see if we could get a difference, but they are the movie studios that we are accustomed to bringing to the Super Bowl are not. And I believe this to me comes from one of two things, Mike. Number one, the cost of a 30-second spot went up $2 million since last year. It's $10 million for a 30-second spot on the Super Bowl this year, which is outrageous. But also, Marvel just like, I don't know, Marvel doesn't, in Spider-Man, they don't need the Super Bowl to get eyeballs on a trailer. If you get a Spider-Man trailer drop Tuesday morning, Mike, whatever we came during the Super Bowl would be gone. People would not even care what was shown during the Super Bowl. Yeah, because they're going to go watch that.
Yeah, also, I wonder, too, I said it kind of jokingly when you sent me the article last week, but I feel like all of the AI companies probably when they bought all of these spots up so they could advertise us all of these tools that they're trying to desperately get people to use, or at least to mainstream
to pay for
some way. I think we might possibly be seeing a Mandalorian and Grogu trailer.
Yeah.
I think that's a possibility.
I think Disney as a whole, yes, but there will be no Marvel. We might see, again, Toy Story 5, Minions 3, Mandalorian, and Grogu. What was the other one? Is it Hoppers? I think might be coming in here. Yeah. So I do think there will be something like that, but like I'm not feeling like something strong like that would kind of fall in our wheelhouse.
And I always feel like there's like a perpetual Fast and Furious trailer every Super Bowl, even though there's not always a Fast and Furious movie to promote. So there's always something Fast and Furious like adjacent, right? Like it's either like Dwayne Johnson's in it, or like I feel like if that Wrecking Crew Amazon Prime movie came out like maybe next week instead of like 2 weeks ago, like that would have been, in the trailer. But who knows? Maybe it still is. You still technically can promote something on streaming if it's still there. So I don't know. Maybe we'll see like an Amazon Echo ad with like Dave Bautista in it or something.
I know who you want. Do you want to know who's in the Amazon the Alexa ad?
Oh yeah,
it's Chris Hemsworth. It's Chris Hemsworth instead. You were so close. You were so close to this. So that's even funnier. I also saw just pull up just to double check. Warner Brothers does not typically make an appearance. That means we will not get Mortal Kombat 2 or Dune 3 or the Odyssey trailers. So it's feeling like it's going to be commercial heavy and trailer light this year, but that's okay. I've got the food and the NFL Blitz fired up. I know where my head's at for tonight's show. Speaking of Disney, they got a new announcement this week. Big announcement. They have officially named Josh D'Amaro as its next CEO to take over from Bob Iger Part 2. And Josh D'Amaro is currently the head of Disney Parks and Cruises, Consumer Products, and Walt Disney Imagineering, which this shouldn't raise any red flags, but it was the same role that Bob Chapek had before he took the CEO role. However, in my research of this man, who I've never heard, I think I may have heard him passing, he seems to come with he's been there since 1998, he's got a mind for business. A lot of people knows that, but I feel comfortable with this announcement, Mike. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly where he got his start in the company, but I believe he was the president of Disneyland Hong Kong. Okay. I think so. I think that's kind of where he kind of got his kind of claim to fame going in the company. And it is an interesting role if you think about it, because I feel like, at least when I was a kid growing up, I always thought of Disney as like an entertainment company. Like, oh, they make movies and TV. Oh, and they also have these theme parks that like I've just never been to because they're too far away. But like nowadays, like when you look at their books, like revenue generation wise, like these parks like print money. So when you have the decision of like, okay, who is going to control this company? Some people might hear, oh, a parks person is taking over, and go like, well, that's not my Disney. Disney makes movies. So it's an interesting way to try to figure it out, because you say Chapek was the last one, but I feel like even people on the outside, can look at this and go like, oh, I'm pretty sure like Chapek and D'Amaro, they seem like functionally different human beings. Yeah, so I feel like we're going to get a different experience. But also I think it's worth noting that Dana Walden got promoted to Chief Creative Officer, so she has like scope over now everything creative at the company that's on your screen in any way. And I think that's important. So I think there was rumors out there that maybe Josh and Dana could have been elevated to maybe equal roles, kind of like dual CEOs in a way. So it seems like they kind of found a way to do that. But now it seems like officially the buck is going to stop with D'Amaro. So I believe the switchover officially happens in March. And then Iger stays on in some sort of functional capacity until his contract is up in
the end of this year.
I want to say November is when it finally ends. So he'll be like sticking around as a mentor type of situation. But I mean, the one thing is, I'll give a shout out to the creator of the account Stage Runner. I love this social account. They're always on top of the news when it comes to physical like production in Hollywood. And the creator of Stage Runner, he predicted this perfectly like a week before it was announced. Josh D'Amaro as CEO and Dana Walden as like a CCO. And then he also had experience working in head of production at like Disney and these other studios. And he says one thing that Disney needs to do, and I'm sure this is the same for all of them, is they need to be faster. They need to be more nimble and adapt. So I would think that's maybe what the board is looking for. We'll see. I mean, it doesn't seem like a huge shakeup, right? You know, it doesn't feel like there's like a cataclysmic event happening. Yeah. You know, so usually that's what the market wants. They don't want things to be too scary.
It needs to be smooth. Yeah, and I feel like this is something a lot of corporations we're going to see are kind of going to get through this in the next 5 years. Like with the guy who runs Apple, he's up there.
Oh, Tim Cook.
Yeah, like we're going to see a lot of this stuff. So we'll be paying attention. But I will tell you the one thing I've heard that I like the most, that Josh D'Amaro is a fan of the Muppets, and by God, he's got my vote. Where do I cast it? How do I keep this guy here, and how do we get more Muppets? Because this week we had as I asked people to watch last week, this week is the Muppet Show on Disney Plus, and it's a 30-minute special. Is under movies. If people didn't know this, I did not know this, Mike. It's actually listed under movies on Disney Plus, not TV shows. Because it's a standalone event, and it's got Sabrina Carpenter. The format is back from the original 70s show. It's essentially they got to put on a show for an audience, and the acts are going to be up there. They're going to be not connected. They're going to be whimsical. There's something's going to go right, something's going to go wrong, and it's just a good time. And I will be the first to admit, Mike, when this came on and it started going, it wasn't the intro that got me, but once the episode actually started, I did tear up watching this because it took me back. Like, it's so simple, and it's just such like an integral part of me as a person who growing up. Like, I was like, I'm so happy to be back here in this, in how this is being presented, in the warm fuzziness. Yes, things have changed. There's different actors under the Muppets, and there's new modern things, but like to go back to like, the backstage, there's too many acts. Scooter has banked too many people, and then it just kind of goes through the episode, and it just took me back to my childhood in a way that a lot of things haven't done in a long time. We've not talked about this. I didn't know when you were going to watch it because it wasn't the same night I did, and I was like, I don't want to talk to Mike about it, but I will tell you one of the standout portions of this, and I think you'll agree, is that Rizzo the Rat gets his own number in this, and there are moments in this when the rats are doing dancing, but they're dancing as Muppets can do, where they just move really fast, like twitchy style. And I was like, I need to text Mike this, but I can't because he hasn't watched it yet. We need to get together to talk about Rizzo doing Blinding Lights by The Weeknd and how they pulled this off in this show.
It was such a funny song choice because I haven't heard it in a minute, because I wouldn't say it's, charting music anymore. So it was kind of like an abstract choice to pick. And then when it starts going, and then it's like, oh, Rizzo's just doing a cover. Like, this isn't even like a Weird Al parody type of situation. He's just doing The Weeknd, which was so funny. And the Rizzo didn't really have any other like remarks in this episode. He was present, like, in the lineup, when there was like crowds of Muppets, but like he just showed up and he did a song. So it was such a funny way to return Rizzo to it. So I was thinking of you the whole time I was watching this, because you're the Muppet guy. Like, I grew up alongside of the Muppets, but not with the Muppets. Like, I knew they were there, but we just didn't really indulge that much growing up. So all of my Muppet exposure has been way later in life. So I was kind of surprised to hear from the internet that, like, oh, this isn't like a reimagining. This is just like another episode of the Muppet Show. Mm-hmm. There's like they it's all reshot, new sets and everything. But I even saw like a side by side of the intro. Like, it's like almost like one for one. It's all like the same angles and same shots. So it really just kind of felt like the show was not even renewed. It was just like, yeah, let's just get like another episode like cranked out. Like it seems like you could transition, like you could just like binge watch the original Muppet Show and just go right into this one like without a blink of an eye. And it takes a minute to kind of get settled in the style of the show too, because I feel like when you kind of bring back something older and nostalgic like this, you feel like it's there to cater specifically to you. But the Muppet Show is always kind of like an all-family type of show. It was an all ages. So, like, you kind of start to be like, oh, there is a little bit of subversive humor, but it's mostly just, like, a fun time. You know, you have, like, broad, silly, slapstick humor. So, like, I was kind of bummed that it was just one episode. I was like, I'd watch more of these. Like, I feel like I was just kind of getting used to it by the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Sabrina Carpenter, I thought was a great guest host too.
Yes, Sabrina Carpenter. We listen to her music pretty regularly at this house. I play as her as my Fortnite skin pretty regularly. So absolutely, Sabrina Carpenter, a huge win. And like the fact again, the chickens dancing with her during Man-Child in the bar. She's smashing beer bottles over the ugly Muppets and stuff like that. It's a good time. She's like, they're doing the Dolly and Kenny song in the boat. Then Piggy comes in, so they change it up a little bit. There's so much physical comedy with Muppets you can do as well, right? Like Kermit being smashed under the door, and people just standing on him, and they think it's like, oh, just the building's old and creaky. Like, there's so much physical comedy you can do with Muppets you can't do with people. They killed Maya Rudolph and brought her back, all within the same episode. That was a fun little throwaway gag. But, like, I can easily see this format being picked up because you need like one main star, just like the old episodes. One person, they're doing some skits, they get a music number or a really big skit. Like Mark Hamill did an episode back in the day, right? Like, so like he's not much of a known for his singing talents, but he had some episodes. And I don't know, it's hard to say if you're not used to the old show. If anyone gets a chance to go back and watch the old show, this is where I would say go back and watch the Muppet Show from the 70s. It's 4 or 5 seasons. Don't worry about the Muppets. Don't worry about Muppets Live or Muppets Tonight from the 90s when they tried to reinvent it for late night talk show. Go back and take a look at that, because you'll see kind of where this came from and how just fun and creative they can be with, using puppets and Muppets. And I do want to call out, Mike, you may not understand the one Muppet who said, I've been burned before. He was from the Prince episode of Muppets Tonight in the 90s. So if you want to look that up, he is a returning Muppet, because everyone's like, who's that? I'm like, he's from the 90s. I recognize that guy. Yeah. Anything else you want to say? I mean, I don't want to take it over because, like, again, no, obviously I'm going to love it because I'm in it. But like, I'm looking forward to, are they going to use Rizzo in the Muppets ride down at Florida?
Oh gosh, I just need more Rizzo. I need a plush Rizzo because our daughter has a Kermit, which she likes to carry around. So now we need Rizzo to complete it. I think my last 2 thoughts is, one, I thought Kermit's voice was going to bug me because I've heard like his previous incarnations with his current voice kind of, I didn't really vibe with all that much because, you get so used to, like, for example, like rewatching a Muppets Christmas Carol, right? That specific voice just gets stuck in your head. When you hear it different, it just kind of like gives you the ick. But like, I thought it was good. Like I think I'm over it now, so I'm happy that I can move past it. And then also, the ratings were good. I think the numbers are out and they are strong. I mean, it's been number 1 on Disney Plus for at least a couple days after it aired. So I would be shocked if we don't get at least a little something more. Yeah. I would think maybe there's thresholds of what they do, right? If it would have been the most streamed thing in all of history, right? If it was bigger than Stranger Things, obviously we would be getting 22 episode seasons going, right? And if it kind of just did okay enough, it would be enough for them maybe to greenlight one more episode. So I kind of wonder maybe what their cadence is going to be with this. Maybe like 1 a season,
Well, I can see it being like we'll 6 half-hour episodes, maybe 8. Nothing huge. They're not going to go back for but like the other original one wasn't that long either. I think they didn't have a lot of episodes back then either. It was not the 23 season or whatever. Yeah. So I can see them doing 6 to 8. Guess.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how achievable this is with like production cycles and schedules or whatever, but I would love one at least like once a month. That would be kind of cool. Just like you always get an injection of Muppets every month.
Oh yeah.
We'll see.
God, don't threaten me with a good time. That's for sure. But yeah, absolutely. Like I said, my recommendation is if you've not seen this, go back and watch the original one. Really pick up and kind of see where this came from. Speaking of shows that are doing really well and streaming, Wonder Man. Marvel is reportedly close to greenlighting a second season of Wonder Man. My fear, Mike, would be that they couldn't do the, hey, I need to get an acting gig thing again, because obviously Simon, the ending put Simon in a place where he couldn't do that. But I've really enjoyed Wonder Man. I don't think it needs a second season, but I don't want to see the last of these characters like we talked about last week either.
Oh my gosh, if I could I'm just connecting things because that's what we like to do. The other big actor we have in the MCU is Kingo. We love Kumail Nanjiani. Yeah. If Simon and oh God, what's Ben Kingsley's name again? Trevor. If Simon and Trevor are like technically on the run, like they should go do a Bollywood movie with Kingo.
Yeah, that
would be awesome. That would be so cool. And then there was a line in the very last episode, I guess extremely light spoilers, where that one agent for the Department of Damage Control said, "Oh, Simon, we got his final readings of his ions or whatever," and he's like, he could either be a huge threat or a huge asset. So I think that goes to show you that the Department of Damage Control is open to a pivot if they need to pivot. So there is ways that we could bring them back out into the public eye without them getting immediately arrested, I think.
Yeah, I think it's all. I mean, to me, I wouldn't want them to leave. If they left Hollywood, they need to go to Bollywood or maybe New York, like someplace else where acting is. That's a little outside of what they just did, but like that was so much fun. I was talking about this week, and someone's like, "I didn't watch Wonder Man. I don't know the character." I'm like, "You remember? You like Ben Kingsley?" Yeah, I'm like, "Well, you should watch it because Ben Kingsley's there just as much as anybody else." And it kind of plays off. We literally ties in our next two topics. But if they greenlight a second season, I'd be there to watch it in a heartbeat, Mike. I think they got some goodwill out of me for Wonder Man, and hopefully they can pull that forward. But before we jump, what I want to see? I want to see a Marvel special presentation of the Wonder Man movie. I want to see them make that Wonder Man movie as like a 10 or 15 minute thing.
Yeah. I mean, they did it with Rogers. I mean, they get a couple. Yeah, give us a little bit of Wonder Man.
Yeah. But yeah, I know we saw some of it there, but like I would love to see what they kind of do with that. Like, give us that show. Bring back Joey Pants if you want to. It doesn't matter to me who they get in there. But I think it'd be fun to see like a 10-minute, even a one shot of that movie in the universe. But Shang-Chi, we're talking about Shang-Chi. Destin Daniel Cretton is apparently still wanting to direct the sequel to Shang-Chi after his Spider-Man thing. So it doesn't sound like he's necessarily marrying himself to the Spider-Man franchise at this time. And I would love for him to come back and do more Shang-Chi stuff. Absolutely. Now, is he after his Wonder Man and Shang-Chi and maybe Spider-Man? This guy's got a lot of goodwill for me through Marvel. I'd love to see what he does. But the other interesting part of this, and this may be kind of what he does, is like MCU's that Marvel Animation might be looking to do a possible 10 Rings project, like Eyes of Wakanda, where they showcase like the 10 Rings throughout the decades, because we know it comes. He's had them for years, way back in old dynasties that we've seen it, and they did some of that animation. What was it in? Was it What If, where it was him and Hela? So I would love to see like a 4-episode 10 Rings thing. Like I wouldn't be opposed to.
Yeah, I think 4 episodes is kind of the perfect amount. Like I'm not gonna dig deep into like a full on season of something that's kind of like, not required viewing. But I could sit back with like a 4 20, 25-minute episodes.
Yeah, I would love to see like when he gets the rings. Because he technically the guy who was the 10 Rings, Shang-Chi's dad, he dies in the movie, right? So we don't have him to tell us the story anymore. So we would be utilizing, and I think the mom's dead as well. So like we would be utilizing this as maybe like the history of the rings. Some of these big battles. I imagine the action scenes they could do in animation with these 10 Rings that they kind of tease a little bit in some of these things. I'd love to see that, and do like, of origin and then a couple hundred years through that would just be awesome. And I think, again, Destin Daniel Cretton, I want his Spider-Man movie to be so good. I'm pulling for him to do that, and I think he's got some faith. But I do believe we need Shang-Chi 2, whether it's Wreckage of Time or another iteration post Secret Wars, sooner than later, because I think we're going to lose some of that steam we got from that. Moving on to Spider-Man Brand New Day, though, a little bit of a tidbit. I'm going to mark this as a rumor, but actor Tremel Tillman, as you might know from Severance, he is rumored to be the leader of Department of Damage Control, Mike, that we have been hearing so much about lately. Do you think?
Yeah, I saw that this was like spinning off like a ton of rumors too. So I'm glad that we are clarifying here, because the wind is still in the air on what the redhead from Stranger Things is, what character she's supposed to be playing.
Sadie Sink, yeah.
Sadie Sink. Like everyone is like head over heels with it's got to be Jean Grey. It's got to be Jean Grey. And then
it's Mayday Parker
continues. Yeah, and then the rumor continues that this damage control character is going to be going after like a rogue mutant. Well, that's got to be Jean Grey. So like we'll see. I mean, obviously we got a red-haired character. You kind of start pigeonholing them into other redhead characters in the MCU, and that makes sense. I don't see why you wouldn't logically go down that road. But I love this guy. If anyone's a fan of Severance, you're a fan of his performance. It's just so amazing. And it's kind of funny, too, because there was a quote the other day where Josh Gad said that he only would play himself in Wonder Man if there was still a possibility that he could play an actual character in the MCU. And Feige said, no, don't worry about it. So it is really funny that if you do get a chance to be in a Marvel project, there is kind of like a question in the back of my head, like, oh, this could be like my career for the next 20 plus years, depending on how well this character is developed. So, Tillman has nothing but, ground in front of him in Hollywood. So I would hope that this character sticks around and grows a little bit, because you'd be kind of wasting him, adding him to the MCU just for like, one part in a Spider-Man movie. So I hope he sticks around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree as well. I think we've talked about Department of Danger Control possibly being set up as like the new S.H.I.E.L.D., if you will, right? Not necessarily villains, but not necessarily heroes. Just trying to keep powered people who could be part of this under control. And I think for them to be successful and people to take this seriously, they're going to need an actor to pull off the leader who's got that gravitas and that energy right at the same time. So I've not watched Severance, but I've seen him doing the marching band scene so many times. Mm-hmm. I think he could easily do this. So that'd be great.
Whenever you hear these rumors, do you also think of those later missions in the Spider-Man games when the souped up enemies kind of make it into the city, right? Where it's no longer like the thugs that you're taking down. It's like the I don't even remember what they call. What do they call them in the game? Well, they have like all of the white like shield. They look like stormtroopers that kind of invade the city.
Well, it's the Silver Sable mercenaries. Yeah,
whatever her unit is called. I keep thinking of that when I see all of these like damage control rumors in the next Spider-Man movie. It's like, oh, it's like when I was playing the Spider-Man game. I'll still beat them up. Don't worry.
Yeah, exactly. We're not too concerned. But like, if they're after the mutant and not Spider-Man, how does the Punisher and the Hulk fit into this? We know Scorpion's in here. Like, this movie has. I could pull 10 movies out of just the people I've heard that are in it. So, as Mike said, we obviously come back and pull out what we can out of it. But like, I don't know when we're gonna get a trailer. We're gonna see what's going on. One of the interesting facts when I was looking up, like, are we gonna get a Spider-Man trailer, or is it a Super Bowl contender? For No Way Home, they didn't give us a trailer until the first show was 4 months before that movie came out. This movie is coming out in July, I believe, right? Is that going through here? July 31st. So we are not on par until March to get a trailer for this, if they follow the same 4 month thing. So I'm interested to see what's going to happen with this. But that's a little bit of news for this. Leads us into our next insect themed superhero, Ant-Man, which I don't. Paul Rudd on the chairs for Doomsday? I don't remember.
Oh God, yeah, I don't know.
Let me see here. Paul Rudd Doomsday. I think he is. No, I don't think he is. Maybe not. I don't remember. But he probably will be. But like that franchise, is a lot like. It's not dead, but it's kind of dead, right? Quantumania kind of killed it. But currently the current report is there are no more future plans for Hank Pym or Janet Van Dyne in the MCU. I will tell you, if we've learned anything about Marvel, that doesn't mean they can't pick them back up in 5 to 10 years and do something with them. Mm-hmm. So I guess we will not see them here in the next probably 5 years, but that doesn't mean they're out of the MCU forever. It just means they don't have they're on the dry erase board, but they're on the bench side of the dry erase board of characters they're not using, right? So,
well, I think like I can't even keep up with the craziness around Evangeline Lilly, but she either like retired from acting, or she like quit Hollywood, or she hates it, or there was other like drama circling around her. Like, mm-hmm. So I don't think we're going to be seeing Wasp anytime soon. But
if she shows up, it's gonna be akin to her in-game cameo, is what I would imagine. Like, where she showed up at the end of the movie and did like a little fight and had to help Ant-Man do the thing. But that would be it. Like, I don't think she's gonna get any more than 60 seconds of screen time if they do a full-on thing.
Well, also they're pretty lucky that she's a mask character too.
Yeah.
So if they just needed to fill out the roster, in like a big Secret Wars, line of infantry, like they could just just drag her 3D model over from Endgame. We're good.
Yeah, get right and shrink it down so we don't have to render it anymore. We'll just assume she's flying around in the battle for that. So nothing against Hank Pym, Janet Van Dyne. I think they were obviously great actors in those roles. So, but obviously if there's no plans, don't shove them in, don't use it. Moving on, Daredevil, we know season 3 is coming out next month, but currently the idea thrown around that Marvel is considering a street-level crossover film that serves as the epilogue to the Daredevil Kingpin saga that started in Hawkeye when Kingpin returned, I guess, in the MCU. And this will feature the return of the Netflix Defenders team, including Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and the Punisher. And the Iron Fist would probably be what's his name? Finn something? Was it Finn?
Oh, Jones?
Yeah, Finn Jones. But he'd be more in a mentor role, looking to hand off the Iron Fist powers to one of the characters who've taken it over in the comic books. This would be fun. I think this is a great idea. This is the one where it's all supposed to be connected, like the serious shows. Like, if Daredevil's got 3 seasons, give him a movie to end on, right? Kind of like a Mandalorian and Grogu. But I don't know if this is real or not, Mike. This might just be ideas on the chalkboard.
Could maybe get some Defenders redemption out there in the world. It does kind of feel weird now. It seems like logically when you get these characters on a streaming service, you want to bring them together because that's what Netflix did. It made the most sense. Let's get them out there and let's run it. And now that it ran its course on Netflix, Disney Plus is like, I think that's still a good strategy. Let's give it a shot on our end, but we'll make it a little bit more Disney Plusified. So we'll throw maybe a little bit more money at it and shorter episode runs.
Yeah. Well,
I'd love to see Luke Cage back. I love Mike Coulter. I loved his portrayal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I think all of them need a good send off because, like, again, these actors have been doing this since 2015, right? When they announced them all, if not 2014. Maybe it was announced in 2013 and it came out in 2015. Like, it's been forever. I'm sure they love the money. I'm sure they love the paycheck coming back to play the characters in. But, like, they reboot this. But to me, in my head, I see a Heroes for Hire movie where all these things come together. The Kingpin, we're not worried about him becoming mayor of New York anymore. All these people, all these street level people where they can finally do what they want without having to, we're not worried about the Avengers stepping in or someone bigger. They just take care of it. And get it done. I think a movie being 2.5 hours, right? Versus like watching 6 to 8 hours of content is cheaper probably to make and be quicker to, we don't want to see, I don't need to see Iron Fist in 3 episodes. I just need to see him kind of show up, do some moves, better moves than he did in his show. And then you're like, okay, well, I'm no longer the Iron Fist. Here's your new Iron Fist. And they show up in other movies and TV shows. Because, I've always wanted, since Shang-Chi, we talked about an Iron Fist Shang-Chi fight. I would love to see that. Not in, them, trying to kill each other, but, the 2 best martial artists in the Marvel comics going at it would just be some of the coolest stuff to see, I think, in a movie. So, long story short, even if this doesn't happen, I'm excited to see where these characters end up in the post-Secret Wars MCU, even if it's different actors. Supergirl is in the news. Don't expect a Super Bowl trailer for Supergirl. She has sponsored the Puppy Bowl this year, like Superman did last year, because of that dog, Crypto, being the mascot, right, of everything. So, sad news there, but we'll get it there. So if you're probably watching the Puppy Bowl now, or it's already over, I don't remember which one it is, but the people have seen early cuts of this film, have said that it's bits of Logan, Superman 2025, Guardians of the Galaxy, and The Last of Us, if they were to compare it to other projects. Not necessarily that it's those things exactly, but that kind of gives me Logan, Last of Us give me Supergirl's probably the begrudged person protecting that young girl she's traveling with. Mm-hmm. Superman being, it's got James Gunn's humor and the DCU stuff, and then Guardians of the Galaxy being well, it definitely looks like it's in the Guardians of the Galaxy universe with the music and the space bits. So, doesn't feel surprising to hear this breakdown. What do you think?
Yeah, honestly, it all just kind of goes back to what we've said with almost every James Gunn project. Anything he makes, it's not going to be bad, right? I feel like you have a really, really good on-base average with Gunn, but that doesn't necessarily mean that, we'll be head over heels for it. I mean, I think we've talked at length about, some bits and pieces of Peacemaker that kind of make us roll our eyes. But on average, the show is successful. So on average, James Gunn is a really good filmmaker. So, but it's still always in the back of my mind. It goes oh, am I going to like this one, or I'm going to kind of not like this one, or will I like bits and pieces of it? So I know when I get tickets to go see Supergirl, I'm going to have a pretty good time. But it's the level of how good am I going to have. I'd love to see Gunn make something maybe of excellence one day, right, where it's just unabashedly, mm-hmm. I loved every little bit of it. So I mean, all of these comps here of Logan, Last of Us, Superman, Guardians, they're all good comps. So maybe this could be it. Also, this technically isn't Gunn's movie, right?
Right.
I keep forgetting somebody else is directing it.
Craig Gillespie is the director. Yeah.
So maybe that's the secret sauce. It's dripping in Gunn sensibilities, but it's piloted by somebody else.
Yeah. Those creamy sensibilities of James Gunn's all over this movie.
I did forget to say I am drinking the cherry float Coca-Cola Zero, and it is very creamy.
Yeah, I want to see how many people are listening to this part of the episode where I get the text messages later, oh, I thought you were killing that, but now it's fun because out of nowhere.
2026. It's a creamy year, buddy.
That's right. The other bit of news from Supergirl is that announced this week that they have replaced composer Ramin Djawadi, who is known for working on Iron Man, Game of Thrones. He did the score to Westworld. I really like his work. With previous DCEU composer Junkie XL, known for his Wonder Woman theme that popped up.
Oh, I love his Wonder Woman theme.
Yeah.
That little kind of guitar sting that kind of breaks through. It's kind of like that charging momentum. I love it. So when I saw this news earlier this week, I was like, oh yeah, this is badass. I'll take it.
Yeah, I think it can go both ways. It depends on how much Guardians of the Galaxy they go, how much actual diegetic music are they going to put in the movie, how much actual songs are we going to be hearing versus actual music. So I've got nothing against either one of these, so I'm ambivalent on the choice here. We'll just wait till the movie comes out in June. Moving on, Clayface delayed, Mike, to October 23rd. Originally, it was September 11th, and we apparently Warner Brothers is rearranging its fall slate. I don't know if this has anything to do with the potential purchase from Netflix, or if it's just because they need more time to work on it, or what's going on. All it tells me is the only thing I know is that this moves it away from Avengers Endgame's theatrical re-release, which is in September. But I don't think this is necessarily a red flag warning. It just seems to be a consequence of some stuff moving around.
The release date makes more sense, right? It's kind of like a villainous character.
Yeah.
I feel like that makes place in October, so yeah.
Yeah. Nothing to be seen on this yet. I would love to see something. We've seen a couple teaser photos, but I'd love to see how they're pulling Clayface out of this and into the real world. Superman, not good news, Mike. Ted Sarandos, I think, is out at talking to the Senate about this buyout of Warner Brothers, and he essentially has underhandedly confirmed that it underperformed at the box office last year, and that's why it was released on digital 35 days after its debut. His quote is as such: 45 days is the industry standard for self-enforcement, theatrical to digital release. However, routinely movies that underperform, the window moves a little bit. Superman was a little shorter window. I don't think Superman necessarily is a bomb. It just sounds like they maybe were seeing some box office decline after the 30 days and decided to put it into the PVOD, paid video on demand, not necessarily streaming, to capture some of that revenue of people who didn't catch it in theaters at that time. I don't know if this is necessarily. It sounds like a dig at Superman. It's not. I was just wanted to be dramatic when I read this out loud, but like, it is interesting to hear that. Seeing I guess maybe how some of the sausage is made as the streamers buy up the theatrical organizations. What do you think?
It is interesting because the profitability of a streaming service is like such a black box, right? Because they don't really calculate the performance of like any one individual movie and its return on investment, because it's like, oh, how much churn did we stop this month? It's almost like the success of a movie is it stopped people from doing something negative, not forced them to do something positive in a way. It's like Netflix is getting to like the point where like where Apple's at, where like we can't sell any more iPhones. Everybody who wants one has one. Mm-hmm. Everyone who wants a Netflix subscription has one already. So I guess they look at things like just totally different in their head, because there obviously is money to make for them outside of their streaming service. Like I said, if everybody has Netflix already, where do you get more revenue? Where do you grow? It's like, well, you sell tickets so people go see it live and in person. So yeah, they're going to have a totally different relationship with box office revenue, because almost every movie, unless you're an outlier like Avatar, makes the majority of its money in like the first 2 weekends. So there's an argument out there where some studio could be really, really ruthless and be like, oh no, 3-week release window. Like, why am I going to leave it out in theaters to like languish with just like a couple million, every weekend, when I can throw it on my streaming service and keep people from churning?
What I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and correct you. This is not the streaming service. This is PVOD. Again, this is not 35 days to streaming. This was 35 days before you could buy it on Apple, iTunes, buy it. I mean, that brings up another question too. If Netflix is the owner of it, do they just skip PVOD? Because Netflix has had some theatrical titles release in theaters. They've never have anything go PVOD, because why? They don't want your $25. Your one-time $25. They want your $25 every month for 12 months every year. No, I agree.
So maybe PVOD, maybe it disappears for Warner Brothers movies if they successfully buy them.
I doubt that, because I think there's an audience for those still. I don't know what that window is. What's the window from PVOD to streaming, and what does that look like? Because I think there is still some like, I really, really want it, I'll buy it, and then it's on streaming like the next week kind of thing. I think there are some of those things that are still out there, and I would love to know, like, what I would probably look at more is rather than Netflix, Apple. What's Apple, like F1, right? Was in theaters. Did it go to PVOD? Even though they own iTunes, they have Apple TV, which is a recurring. Did it go to iTunes first or PVOD? That might be a better way to look at it, because they seem to be putting some more movies in the theaters as we go. But like, I don't know, like 30. I remember when like 6 months was, you know, a pretty good turnaround time to watch something at home, and here we are. We're like, yeah, 45 days feels like forever, like pulling teeth. So I don't know. There's no answer here, but there's probably not going to be fun for the theatrical experience. Probably going forward. I still like going to the movies. I haven't been since Avatar. I'd like to go back, but nothing's good in January, February yet. Unless I really want to go torture myself with that Silent Hill 2 movie, which I believe. Hold on, I need to look this up. Did you ever watch the original Silent Hill movie?
No, but I'm I've seen a lot of clips of it.
Okay, so I've watched the first one. I think it was in theaters. I think we were going to watch video game adaptations. When did this release? Silent Hill 2. Why do people not just put out the release date on movies here? In theaters. Well, it's on PVOD now. This movie's, I swear to God, it's only been out 2 weeks and it's already on paid. But I've definitely blinked and missed it. So. I just saw that pop up earlier, but yeah, I think this is going to be an interesting experiment, and I think again, obviously, the bigger companies, this is going to crash and burn, hopefully, and we can go back to where we're seeing less reliance on tentpoles and more, smaller movies propping everything up along the way. Last bit of news here. It's going to be a short episode because I need to get back to stirring my cheeses and meats, Mike. You know this. Paradise Lost, the Themyscira Amazon DCU series that was going to not have Wonder Woman, has essentially been shelved. It is, quote, "This project is now dead, no longer in active development." That is being told to the writers and people who were contributing to work on this show because they're going to focus on the Wonder Woman reboot. Having a show about Wonder Woman's mythology without Wonder Woman was probably a bold move, but probably didn't have anything going for it. Do you feel confident in James Gunn and Peter Safran's original slate now with another project essentially nixed off that list that they were working on?
Yeah, I feel like we're just in like a totally different landscape now. When they took over, they were still like, you know, those lingering, you know, HBO Max priorities that were sticking around, and they didn't really know exactly what they were going to keep. And I guess it's maybe not the best move to announce like 2 new creatives taking over Universe, and then alongside of that going like, oh no, we're canceling all this stuff that was greenlit. Not just for public perception, but you kind of want to, you know, you don't want to like diminish all of the creatives that you've kind of already hired, you know, maybe to like, you know, flesh out the story. And who knows, maybe you could get something good out of it that you could use elsewhere. But, you know, if you're just at the very beginning and you've just made a Superman movie, like you don't need to go to the CD ranks, you know, of just like the people that your superhero used to live with, right? You know, now actually, if you kind of see, you know, all of the animated projects that are in development, this feels like it would be a good contender for an animated take on it, right? Because it kind of seems like that's where we're going with them. Like, oh, we'll tell some of these more ancillary stories in animation, and then the things that are successful out of it will graduate them, you know, into live action. Right. So, you know, maybe Themyscira could return in an animated point of view, but yeah, I don't think there was a lot of people looking to it'd be like kind of like when Marvel announced that like Wakanda TV show, right, that was going to be live action, and then they pivoted just to like this 4-part animated thing. You know, I think at the end of the day, people just want the big heroes, right?
Yeah.
You know, and they don't need the deep back catalog anymore, where they're like, oh, we need as much content as possible. It's not really a content race so much anymore.
Yeah, and I think also it's you got to earn your way up to it, I guess, right? Like, you know, if Marvel, the MCU had started with some of the deeper cuts things, like no one would care. Like you'd be like, I don't need to watch this. This is irrelevant to me. So
I think did they? I'm trying to remember. Did they officially can the kind of like? I don't necessarily think it was supposed to be Commissioner Gordon, but wasn't there going to be like a Gotham PD show too? Didn't they cancel that?
It's evolved several times. I have not heard any updates on it. I wouldn't be surprised if they pull it out. But like with the success of the Penguin show and then possibly doing a sequel, that would be, I think, the only thing they do in the Batman universe for sure. Because I don't. Even though Gotham had 5 or 6 seasons, it was not a beloved show. Do you remember the Gotham? Krypton had a TV show. Do you remember that? Did you watch any of that? No? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Back when the Sci-Fi Channel... Yeah. I don't think it exists anymore, right? Isn't it defunct?
Boy, we're researching a lot on today's show. Sci-Fi Channel, it says it's still going. Yeah. I feel like it is. Yeah, it's still going on as far as I know.
Well, good for them.
Yeah, is it owned? Was it owned by Fox, NBC Universal? No, NBC Universal. So yeah, I mean, yeah, but right. Anyway, like, yeah, Krypton. Like, no one's watching shows without the characters, right? Like, you don't want to watch a show about Superman, and it's like, oh, this is Superman's grandfather. Okay, I'm pretty sure the Pennyworth show was all right, but we don't want to watch about Batman's butler, right? Like, so, history tells us anything. Get your character in there first. And they go backwards. That is how you win over the home audiences. And I had lunch with a friend and listener to the show yesterday, Jason, and he said, it's like what you guys always say on the show, like, tell a good story first, and then worry about everything else later. So let's get that done. Mike, that is the episode for today. Like I said, you need to get to the store. You need to get your snacks. I feel bad holding you back from it. I can tell you're salivating just thinking about them. So I'm gonna let you get out of here. But if people know what you're up to, what you're doing, where can they find you at?
Yeah, they can read my webcomics at pickledcomics.com and liverewardsrisk.com. Chris, if people want to catch up with you, where can they find you?
Yeah, find me on Instagram, Valdan87, VALDAN, or video games with the same name. If people want to know more about a show, we come back every week where we normally are not in a rush because the Super Bowl isn't on. Where can they get all these goodies at?
Yeah, if you want to check out our halftime show, just head on over to superheroslate.com. We're live streaming puppies, kitties, every little baby animal. We threw them all in a room with a webcam, so you can get that at superheroslate.com. We're also on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, wherever else you're listening to podcasts. I should stress that I feel like we are the last podcast left alive. Everyone else is basically turned into ununionized talk shows with cameras and lights and makeup. Like, we're holding it down, Chris. We're holding down the audio platform.
I just got out of the shower before I came down here. Like, I would not be on camera to save my life right now. Like, I'm a mess, so I understand that. Yeah, listen to us. Don't watch us.
Yes, but we love our super fans that listen. So if you want to be a super fan of this show, all you have to do is share the show with a friend, share the show with a buddy, and we will be here every week, folks.
That's right. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.